right-hand side, we're going to see these stages here, number 16, 17, 18, and 19. For many years, these stages were all home to a show called Never Have I Ever, which was a, we've watched it. It was a Universal Television produced show, so our television division was a part of producing this show. It is available to stream via Netflix even still, and it was created by Mindy Kaling. So if you ever saw Davy, which is the main character of that show, walking through the hallway, stopping at her locker, maybe having lunch in the cafeteria, falling asleep in the classroom as she was listening to the teacher talk, those are all the sets that were built within the walls of these stages here on your right-hand side. Now, Never Have I Ever, at its core, is a comedy, which gave it a little bit of leeway to tackle some potentially uncomfortable subjects while still remaining lighthearted, keeping it within the family-friendly approach to production. Speaking of Ted, speaking of family-friendly, should I say, let's point out Ted here on your left-hand side. Who here is familiar with Ted? Family-friendly, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh. So we're back there, cards. You know what? To each his own. Someone on my last role was adamant that it was. And you know what? You choose. You know your sense of humor. You know your sense of style and what you like to watch and what you don't watch. Now, Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Ted, he definitely is aware of his very specific brand of humor, and he also knows his audience really well. He was here with us for quite a bit last year, a show by the name of Ted TV. It is a prequel television show to the Ted franchise that we know and love. I'm going to play you guys a quick little snippet about the show. Don't worry, it is a family-friendly little snippet about the show. The clip is kind of new, so it may glitch. If it glitches, I'll try to play it again, but let's see what happens. Take a look.
Hi everyone, Seth MacFarlane here, and I'm excited to share with you a behind-the-scenes look at my Peacock original event series, TED. It's a prequel series set in 1993. That means our skilled craftspeople had to build a high school, a house, and even recreate downtown Boston as it looked back in the day, using the exterior sets and facades you're about to see on the tour. But I should warn you, TED is intended for mature audiences only. So grown-ups, tell the kids to go in the other room before you watch.
Sorry, kids. Now, a show that you can watch as a family that films are on the lot, it's called Lopez vs. Lopez. They film out of this stage here to your left-hand side, which is number 25. Lopez vs. Lopez stars George Lopez, his daughter Mayan Lopez, and now we have Fluffy as a part of the cast as well. Fluffy's real name is Gabriel Iglesias. Now, Fluffy is a very famous stand-up comedian, so if you don't know him, definitely got to check out his work. We've been seeing a lot of him lately. Now, if you don't have your cameras up at this point, let's go ahead and get them out. Because the front lot is its own entity. It's a lot of sound stages, it's a lot of office spaces, but this right here, this street is acre number 1 of our 400-acre journey that we're taking together today. The first 4 acres we're going to check out, they're known as the Metropolitan section. We're going to get a sneak peek here on the right-hand side. This is where the buildings are all over 50 feet tall. They give us the illusion that we're looking at skyscrapers, and really we're looking at facades. Just the fronts and sides of buildings. So let's check out the first major neighborhood coming up on the right, past the glass building, is a part of a lot called Brownstone Street. Does it look familiar to you guys by any chance? Maybe from Bruce Almighty?
Raise the door! Inside bad, outside good. Inside bad, outside good.
是王牌天神吗？摩登大圣，摩登大圣。
Oh, you're done now. Great. B-E-A-U.
Brownstone Street is beautiful. But sometimes it's not as recognizable as the next part of our lot usually is. This part of our lot is known as Courthouse Square here at Universal, but you guys may know it best as Hill Valley from Back to the Future. We're going to round the corner here, and as we do, take a look to your left. Now, there's a truck parked at the end of the block here on the left-hand side. That's right about where the DeLorean disappears. It goes back into time. Now, also on your left-hand side is the clock tower that we know and love. Keep in mind that this part of our lot has transformed so many times over the years. It's been seen as Storybrooke from ABC's Once Upon a Time. Hairspray Live filmed here. This was Baltimore for that particular show. But you know what? The fan favorite? It'll always be Hill Valley from Back to the Future.
It was actually the back lot of the
我
courthouse
觉得那
square
个应该
that
不是参
inspired
观
the
环球影
entire
城，他们应该
climax
是
of
另
Back
外
to the
买那
Future.
种。
I had scenes up there,
Right, lighting
on that ledge. There's a ledge about that wide. And I'm standing inside, looking at the ledge, and I already had vertigo. I just, there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
So, the building to your left is the same one on your screens from the movie. But today, the 4 columns from the original are not there, but they are. They've actually just been pushed right behind that brick wall because this part of the lot is so recognizable. If we didn't change that building even just a little bit, it's almost impossible for other things to film here. Now, the beauty of this street that we're rounding the corner onto is that it's called New York Street, but it can be transformed into any major metropolitan city in the world that we need it to be. And this is the main thoroughfare that makes up this first 4 acres of a lot, again called the Metropolitan section. Now, New York Street has been seen in Captain America: The First Avenger. In fact, the shot directly ahead of us, like if you look through the camera and then towards this tram ahead of us, that's the framing directly ahead of us from Captain America: The First Avenger. The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Changeling, The Blues Brothers, every Fast and Furious film. This has also been seen in countless shows like SWAT, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Good Girls, 911, Kenan, Hunters, Will and Grace, How I Met Your Mother, Quantum Leap, TED TV, and it's also been an obstacle course for the last 7 seasons of American Ninja Warrior. So there's so many productions that can be traced back to New York Street. So many amazing people have worked here. But I would say that one of the people that knows it best in the entire world is Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. I once got mugged over there by an old woman, a tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
这真的会了。
So coming up on the right, you're going to see this red building here on the corner. And as we continue forward, you're going to see this little furniture store. And next to the furniture store, you're going to see something that says Jamal's Barbershop. That little corner, including this red building, is all from Bel Air. So Bel Air's been filming mostly out of this little pocket here for the last week or so. Of course, they do have several sound stages, which we got to see earlier, but when they film on the back lot, it's very specific places. So it's usually going to be this little corner. They do have their own little house, the influencer house, if you know the show. That's also on the lot. It is very much a fully functional house on the lot, which is pretty cool, which you are able to film in. But yeah, this little corner here on your right-hand side is all specifically for Bel Air, including the color of these buildings. So this is purposely red. It's usually not red. Usually we kind of keep it gray, maybe even a dark blue. We usually kind of keep it neutral. So if you've ever watched real estate shows, we always see the realtor working with someone called a stager, where they come in and they put together all the furniture pieces. They make sure that the house looks beautiful to kind of give the potential buyer an idea as to how the house could flow. Oh yeah, the couch could go there. Oh yeah, that's a good spot for the TV. Things like that the real estate agent starts to kind of plant seeds in the potential buyer's mind so they can potentially see themselves living in this space. Now, typically that's something that we would maybe consider doing, but we really don't. We want to keep it as vague as possible. So when potential producers come here walking around to see if this could maybe be London for an episode or two of a show, or maybe this could be Hong Kong for a Taylor Swift music video, which is what's happened in the past. Maybe this could be Brooklyn, which it has been for Captain America: The First Avenger, but they were very specific. They were 1940s Brooklyn. In fact, where this red building here is here on the right-hand side, and this little cafe here to your left, this is pretty much where they filmed from this point to the end, because this is the Brooklyn section of New York Street. Now, on the scenes that filmed here from Captain America: The First Avenger were moments after Steve goes through his physical transformation. He immediately springs into action, running through the streets of Brooklyn after a German spy. So those scenes were the ones that filmed here. He's hanging on the back of the taxi. He's being flung into walls. He's running for his life. So those scenes did involve a lot of stunts and a lot of buildings that were damaged in the process, or at least that's the way it looked on screen. So to protect our buildings here, so we didn't have to go back in and quite literally rebuild things, that crew ended up bringing in these large blue screen tarps and placing them over the buildings that would require damage during those scenes. Not all of them, just a few, like every other building, right? So by doing that, they protected our buildings, but they also had the opportunity to go back in during post-production and recreate whatever they wanted digitally. So we're in a very digital era now when it comes to making movies and shows. It's never really surprising when we see production bring in these green screen or blue screen walls, especially when they're filming here on New York Street. Because if we were to drive a few feet forward, if the camera happened to be facing that way, we would see all the tram traffic in the distance. And that's the last thing we want to do, is see production traffic. So at the crosswalk here at the end of New York Street, they're going to bring in the blue screen wall to make sure that if the camera does happen to catch it, the blue screen gives them the opportunity to recreate it all digitally. Now, whether you're dealing with creating a landscape or maybe you're dealing with pigment, green screen and blue screen can be used for both. But if we're dealing with pigment, production usually chooses green screen for that. And if we're dealing with landscape, they're probably going to choose blue screen. Here's a good example. On your screens is one of the 11 sound stages that Whoville was built in for Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If you were to put all 11 stages together, Whoville was literally the size of a football field. Every single sound stage was wrapped in blue screen along the wall. So no matter where the camera was pointed, they'd be able to go back in during post-production to fill it in digitally, like this. And then suddenly, because of blue screen, you have this world that goes on for miles, but really, it's a warehouse. Cut to King Kong sitting at the top of the Empire State Building. Guess what? That's blue screen. It's King Kong 360 3D. So we're just waiting for a couple of vehicles to clear the hill, and then we'll be next up. So before we officially make our way into this building within the next minute or two, do me a big favor. Everybody take your phones out, or cameras. Open up your phone settings to the camera and turn off the flash. We're going to be in this very dark building, so we want to make sure that the flash is off before we start to take pictures or videos. We want to be mindful of those that we're sharing the car with and also sharing this experience with, so just make sure the flash is off before doing so. Go ahead and check the floor. Do you have anything on the floor? Bags, purses, things that are valuable. If you do, pick them up now. Put them on your lap or a seat next to you, as we will be experiencing sudden tram movement. And if you still have your boyfriends on the ends, you have about a minute to figure that one out. As you do, I'm going to pass it over quickly to Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong.
看那个180度转弯大家湾，
超梦。About 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from real life and sweep you up in adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing on a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from historic times. I was thrilled that Universal invited me back to Skyline. It was great to have you on the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
我们要去骷髅岛。
We really put a lot of thought into the character and personality of Kong, and he's so much more than a monster. In fact, he's not a monster. You know, he is an incredibly majestic, ancient creature. He's a force of nature. He's old, he's wise, he's proud, he's fierce, and obviously he has a heart. The most important feature with Kong are his eyes. Kong's eyes are wonderfully expressive. They're full of emotion. His eyes are like a window into his personality and his heart. He's had an enormous number of encounters with his foes, the T-Rexes and the various dinosaurs on Skull Island, so he's been beaten up, scarred, chewed up, spat out by these dinosaurs at various times, and he wears the scars of a lot of ancient battles. The island
干这个，
我看这好猛哦！
这不是
原本
公车吗
我刚想？睡觉的瞬间醒了，干好屌哦！看，他们这里好像很喜欢来这招哎，突如其来就进入高潮，都不讲的啦。
One of the largest, most intense, unique experiences on the planet. If you guys thought that was scary, I just want you to know that it does get worse.
原来刚刚那个 King Kong，我们在那个上面，我不是有跟你讲金刚，原来就是这个这么屌。
He is a genius, absolutely, but he did not do this alone.
但想不到这个不是游览车，这是游乐设施。
They were known as Recreational, and they have 7 Oscars for their work on Avatar, Loki the Big Trilogy, The Family Apes, The Hobbit, The Jungle Book, King Kong, and Avatar: The Way of Water. They've also worked with Marvel's Avengers: Infinity War, Endgame, Black Widow, and Black Panther. They're masters of what they do, and this is a behind-the-scenes look into the making of King Kong 360 3D.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing colors inside. There's